back to Station Meets, where we talk to the committee members of some of St Andrew's societies. Today I'm joined by Iona McNeill of the Children of Rwanda. Hi Iona, how are you today?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So firstly then, could you briefly introduce yourself and Children of Rwanda?
Hi everyone, my name is Iona McNeill. I'm currently the president of Children of Rwanda, but in previous years I was a freshers rep and also the secretary, so I've been involved with the branch for a while. I was really drawn to Children of Rwanda because I truly believe that the mission of the charity is just so worthy. The focus is that education is a universal right, not a privilege. And I think that Children of Rwanda really focuses on creating sustainable and meaningful change. So, to sort of simplify what the charity does, the charity will provide bursaries, healthcare, money to fund farming projects, and also more recently, money to fund period awareness workshops in the communities that they help. My personal favourite thing, and the thing that really attracted to me to Children of Rwanda, is that the communities themselves will decide where the money's going, so that they have a parent committee in which parents of the families helped and teachers will have meetings to talk about where the money is most needed. And the purpose of Children of Rwanda is really to break the cycle of poverty, which is why there's a focus on sort of creating an all-round impact for the families, not just the children. So ultimately, the aim is that eventually the community hopefully won't need Children of Rwanda, because they'll be able to create and sustain the change that they need. And we just help them do that by fundraising.
You've mentioned there briefly, and also your website lists community participation as one of your core values. So how do you actually engage with the communities that you help, and why is it important for charities to do so?
I think, firstly, to answer the second part, it's really important for charities to engage in the communities to ensure that they're actually helping in the most positive and effective way possible. Which is why Robbie, who's the founder of Children of Rwanda, goes out and he'll visit the community at least once a year. He'll talk to them, he'll make sure that everything is running smoothly on their end, he'll hear their stories, he'll hear the feedback, and it just helps to ensure that everything is running as smoothly as possible. And ultimately, as the communities are the ones who best know what they need, charities do really need to make sure that they are placing the communities at the heart of everything they do.
That's a great answer. I mean, COVID will have really challenged you as a charity and the communities that you're helping. So how has the pandemic affected the children and families in Rwanda, and how have you responded as a charity to those challenges?
Of course, the pandemic was very difficult for everybody, including in the UK, more so for the families that we're trying to help in Rwanda, especially in terms of the fact that schools were closed, so the children couldn't go to school. The farming impact was very difficult as well because of strict curfews in Rwanda, which meant that people couldn't go to work as normal. So there was an emergency food drive, an emergency donation drive in order to help raise funds. And Children of Rwanda was fortunate in that it was able to act relatively quickly given the circumstances in helping get food out to families who are most in need. And of course, everyone will remember the shortage of food in supermarkets in the UK. It was unfortunately much worse in Rwanda, and so we were lucky that Robbie was able to work with the families to direct the funds and make sure that the situation was dealt with in the best possible way.
That sounds great. It sounds like you really made a good effort there to help those most in need. I mean, a charity like this must have a whole load of really fantastic success stories. So could you give me your best example of one way in which you've seen your organisation's work make a difference?
Yeah, I think on the website there are lots of individual stories, but one of my personal favourite is hearing how the period awareness project has been developing in the country. Obviously, one of the biggest focus of Robbie is that he's not infringing on the cultural values and the cultural understandings, including period poverty in Rwanda. And so it was a relatively sensitive subject to approach, in that it is not perhaps talked about as much as it is in the UK. And I personally am really impressed with the way that Robbie has gone about with the communities sorting this project out, including the fact that local artisan women will make the pads, and they're reusable pads as well, which of course is more sustainable for the environment. And it truly does make a difference to the young women that the charity is helping. And of course, it is wonderful that it's been done in a way which is mindful of their cultures and their traditions, and ensuring that it's not imposing Western values about periods upon the community.
That's fantastic. My next question is that the effectiveness of current aid packages is often criticised for not being sustainable and not bringing about that long-term change that's needed. So from looking at your website, you're employing a more long-term approach by educating parents on things like farming techniques. Why are those kind of long-term approaches the most effective way to meet your charity's aims?
It's really important to help the families, and especially the parents, set up a source of income that will be very viable and will continue to help them. Because in terms of finances, it means that they're able to get in the money to send their children to school, to provide their family with healthcare insurance, and it means that ultimately they won't be relying on the charity. There is an emergency fund set up in case families do suffer misfortunes, but it ultimately means that Children of Rwanda is able to help more families because they are also focusing on the parents as well as the children. So as you mentioned, it is more sustainable, and hopefully it does aim to truly break the cycle of poverty rather than just relieve it for a short time.
Sounds like a really good goal moving forward. Your plan then for the next 5 years, where do you really see Children of Rwanda going, and what kind of changes are you going to make?
Well, obviously, I'm involved mainly with the fundraising rather than the decisions of the charity. However, I would imagine that the charity is aiming to broaden their period poverty approach. I believe that they are also hoping to get more children into university. And I believe that actually in 2019, I think it was, I may be mistaken, that the first child who went through Children of Rwanda, who was obviously an adult by that point, actually went to university, which is wonderful. So I imagine that they're hoping to broaden their reach without actually losing any of the impact that they have.
That's a great story. It really shows the impact of your charity and charities which seek to do similar things. You mentioned there that you're involved in fundraising. So how can incoming students get involved with fundraising, and are there opportunities for them one day to migrate to the committee?
Yeah, well, unfortunately last year we were hit by COVID, as most committees were. It was very difficult with the moving guidelines and the restrictions that were imposed at various points in the year to get something in person really off the ground. We're currently trying to kickstart a summer fundraiser, which you can find more information about on our Facebook page, which is Children of Rwanda St. Andrews. We also, pre-COVID, we were holding a lot of musical events such as jazz evenings, which were always a really great success. And we were very fortunate to have various jazz bands in St. Andrews come along and play for us in the Union, which was really generous of them and their time. And this year, hopefully, we will have some more in-person events. We're planning a bag decoration evening, hopefully doing some potluck, some more music events, a raffle. So I would advise any incoming students to keep an eye out. We're a really friendly committee. It's quite a small committee. If you have any questions, reach out, feel free just to ask. And as I said before, just follow along on our social media pages and we will update you all of any events.
That's great. Fingers crossed that those events go ahead next year. I'm really crossing my fingers for you. So finally then, do you have a piece of advice for incoming students who are about to start their journey at St. Andrews?
Oh goodness, this is a hard one. There's lots of advice out there, I think, but the thing that helped me most was just keep an open mind, come to university and be open to trying absolutely anything and everything. You try it once, you might not like it, you can try something new. Definitely join committees. It's where I made some amazing friendships, met some wonderful people who are so inspiring. And it really does make sure that you have a taste of life outside just partying and studying. It's very worthwhile.
Iona McNeill, thank you very much for joining me this evening. If you would like to find out more about how to support Children of Rwanda, information and contact details can be found on social media at Children of Rwanda St. Andrews or on their official website. Have a lovely day. Bye.